Hi there, I'm Lee and welcome to iMineBlocks. In this video, I'll be showing you how to get started mining on an Android TV box. Okay, so I put out about a week ago, I was kind of teasing that I was going to try and get set up and started mining on one of these TV boxes. So this is the one that I've picked up. It's called a BM8 Pro. It might come under a few different names or brands, but essentially it's got the same hardware inside. So this one has got an ARM logic. It's an S912 and it includes an octa-core processor and 2 gigs of RAM. There's also a 3 gig RAM variant, but the performance will be roughly about the same. So these are these little TV boxes. So basically inside it's a single board computer, but the good thing about them is that they have lots of features and they also run Android. This one is running Android version 6. And it's also pre-rooted. I'll tell you how you can check that in just a moment. So getting started mining with this device is really easy. And as you'll see, the performance is not bad either. So let's jump into it. We'll get it plugged in and I'll show you how to get started mining on this Android TV box. First, we need to plug in our Android box. So I'm using a network cable. Alternatively, you can use a Wi-Fi connection. It's got a Wi-Fi option. Network cable, HDMI cable. I've also got this USB dongle, and that's so I can use a keyboard and mouse, which makes it a little bit easier. And then we've got our power. Putting the power, you see a blue light, the box comes on immediately. By the way, this is the remote for it. So if you don't have a keyboard and mouse sort of option, you can use the remote, but it's just a little bit more tricky to get through. Okay, so I'm just recording directly off the screen just because it's easy and it will save me faffing around with screen capture, etc. So to get started, you're going to want to download a couple of apps. So you can go to this apps option. You can edit and add your Google Play Store details. So the apps that we're going to use is this CPU monitor, that's optional. And then further down, we want these main ones. So it's Linux Deploy, ConnectBot, and Root Checker. So they're our main apps. So like I say, this device is currently running Android version 6 and it's already pre-rooted. So I'll tell you how you can check whether your device is rooted or not. So like I say, already download the apps, download this root checker and then start it. And then you want to use this verify a root option. And it should pop up with a notice like this. So you've got remember for this time. So you want to remember your choice forever. Then you want it to allow. And that basically confirms that this device has root access or super user access. So from this point onwards, it's very easy for us to install our Linux and mining software. If you don't have root access, you're going to have to root your device, which is not something that I'll be going into in this particular video. So if you use the right mouse button, we can kind of go back. So we want to use this Linux deploy. So it's actually already running in this instance, but I'll show you how to get started with it normally. So when you first start Linux deploy, it will look like this. So you've got these little bit text on the left hand side, just says confirm that you've got root access, you've got your IP address, etc. And we want to install it. So if you press these 3 little dots, these slider bars, that's how you configure the install. So I'm using Debian, it's ARMHF, stretch. Further down, you want to change your username to root and your password to something suitable. In this case, I've just got pass just to make it easy for the demonstration. And then further down, you want to enable SSH. Click on that checkbox and we can go back from there. After you've got all that set up, you then want to use the 3 little dots again and click install. You'll see lots of code on the screen, but after a couple of minutes it will stop, and the final sort of part that you're looking for is that it will say deploy, and that means it's ready to then for the container to be started. So run through that code, wait for it to say deploy, and then you're ready for the next step. So once it says that, you then click on start and confirm it. And now our Linux installation is basically started and it's ready for us to accept or send commands to it. So we send commands to it using a command line terminal. So I'll show you how to do that. So we right click, we can close this. Then we want to use ConnectBot, and also you can connect to it via using PuTTY, using a different device on your network. I'll show you how to do that as well. So ConnectBot, and we've already got the details in here, but I'll just show you how you would add it anyway. So you click on the plus symbol, and then it's the username, so it's root, and then the keyboard's not configured properly, so it's @ and then the IP address of the device, which is the one that's on the previous screen. Sorry, I was using the because it's this USB keyboard, the number lock, etc. is not configured properly. So it's root at 192.168.0.62, and that's essentially all that you need. So then you can click on this kind of enter, just go to the next line, and if we go to add host, so now we've just added that. So if we select that now, so you're basically, this is your terminal and it's accessing the Linux installation that we've just installed. So we enter our password, which is past for demo, and enter. Oh, sorry. The enter is one of those other buttons that's not configured properly. So pass, and if I use the enter button on the screen. So now we're at the command line and you can ready to enter your instructions, etc. And what I'm going to show you now, before coming back to this, is I'm just going to do the rest of the installation commands on the computer that's next to me, just because it's easier copy and pasting and typing, etc. But the process for you will be exactly the same if you want to do it on screen. It will just take you a little bit longer if you're going to kind of manually type it here. So I'll show you the screen next to me where we can enter these commands, and then we'll come back and we'll sort of continue on with the miner. Okay, so I'm on the computer next to us, and like I say, it's going to be just a little bit easier for us to enter our commands. Again, for simplicity's sake, I am just recording off the screen. I know it's not the greatest quality, but it is a little bit easier for me to get this done for you. So we're going to open up a program which is called PuTTY, and then we are going to connect to our TV box. So it's the same as it was before to log in effectively, or connect to it, should I say. So it's root at, and then the IP address. So use the IP address that's shown on the top of the Linux deploy, and the port's always 22. And you want to go to open. So it opens up just like I just showed you. So we enter our password, pass, and enter. So from here, the command line, we are basically ready to enter our commands to get started. So I've already done this, and I won't go through the whole process of showing you, but I'll link everything that you need in the description. So all you need to do is one by one, just kind of copy and then paste. So you right click to paste in this, and then press enter, and it will go through and it will install. So you update, you upgrade, then you install these programs, dependencies, and then you're going to install the miner. So just go one by one and work your way through. Just press Y to confirm if you need to. Then at the end, once you've done this sort of final part, you're going to go into the folder that's been put in. So it's veriumMiner. So by the way, we're going to be mining Verium again, or at least in this demonstration. And then we're going to copy and paste this. So it actually runs 8 threads. So we're going to change that threads to 8. So we've just gone into the Verium folder. Now we've got the command line to run the miner itself. If you guys are not familiar, just to break it down. So it's the call to the miner, so the miner program. Then it's our pool. Then it's our username for the pool, and then a worker name for the pool. You need to configure these. So you need to create an account in the pool and then add your workers. A few guys were asking me about withdrawing funds and stuff. That's done all at the pool side. So this is just basically your username and work details for this pool here. So visit that website there, okay? Okay, going back to PuTTY, so now it's ready to start. So you can press enter, and the miner will start. But I'm just going to stop it there, so Control and C just to stop it. So now I'm just going to go back to the other screen just to show you how that miner gets set up and gets started, and what it looks like kind of on the TV box itself. Okay, so back on the main menu of the TV box, assuming that we've gone through all of the Linux installation and miner installation, we are ready to start the miner. So I thought I'd show you kind of on the TV box itself because it kind of looks quite cool. So we open up our apps. Our Linux deploy has already been installed and it is running. So you make sure that is already started. Then we want to open up our connect bot. And it's going to connect to the IP address. So it's a root at the IP address that we've already created. And it asks us for our password. In this case, it's pass. And press that little enter button. So now we should be able to, it's kind of a knack to it. Whoops. Oh yeah, that's what I was looking for. So you can use these little up arrows, but I don't know how to make them stay on there all the time. It's like a little, oh, balls. Okay, so you want to go into the folder. Sorry for the confusion on this. On your, when you do this on your phone screen, it's a little bit easier to do. Oh, don't want to do that. And then up again. So now we can enter the full command line. Of course you can just type this, but I'm lazy. So we've gone into the veriumMiner folder and now we've got the mining commands there ready to go. So like I said, we're going to be running 8 threads. So let's hit enter. We'll start the veriumMiner. Okay, so we've got our first accepted share and our first reported hash rate. So 345 hashes. So if you guys are probably going to ask how much the power usage is, when I checked it with the watt meter, it was using 6.2 watts. So slightly higher than the phones that I've tested. This hash rate is probably about as good as you're going to get. There's obviously more optimizations to do. One other thing I wanted to show you, because it's quite important. So if we open up the CPU monitor app, so you can see our CPU is running at 100%, but you can also see the temperatures running at 77. Further down we've got our, so these are all our cores, so it's 8 cores. So you can see 4 of them run at 1512 and the other ones run at 1000 megahertz. But what you will see is that this CPU is getting really, really hot. So this is something that I need to work with in the future. And you guys are probably going to run into the same sort of issues as well. So 80 degrees is very hot for a CPU of any type, especially one like this. So what's going to happen is the CPU is going to get too hot and then it's going to throttle. So what you start seeing is these CPU cores, the clock speed is being reduced and it's being reduced to kind of manage the heat. So when that happens, you're not going to continue to get the best performance from the device. It's basically too hot, it gets throttled and it runs slower. So that's a bit of an issue. So that is something that I do need to sort of work on and I wanted to just kind of show you and make you aware of it. If we, I think you can kind of slide down from the top. If you go back to this connect bot, you should kind of see, so what will happen is here, your hash rate will basically drop until it kind of levels out about 200. So that's a bit of an issue right now. So cooling definitely needs obviously some sort of attention. I will be doing a follow-up video. I'm going to attach a fan to it or something and show you like a dismantling of this device. I think that'll be quite interesting. Okay, so that's it for the demonstration of me mining Verium with the Android TV box. So in this one, I kind of like skimmed through a lot of the different elements. Please let me know, give me some feedback whether it was a bit too fast, if you'd like me to slow down a little bit going through each one of those steps, pay a bit more attention to the details. I did do that previously and I normally do that in my other videos, but it just makes the videos really long and I think it's probably a bit too long for you to watch, even if it might be a bit boring. But let me know if you want me to be a bit slower and more specific, or whether it's like this, I can kind of point you in the right directions and then kind of go from there. One of the other things is with this Android TV box, there's a lot more testing to do, as you would have seen in the test that I just showed you. it does overheat, so that's an issue. I've already opened it up and looked inside, and there's only a quite small, just an aluminium heatsink. So I think adding a fan will obviously definitely improve that core temperature, and therefore also the performance as well. But I'll save that for another video. We'll do like a dismantling and see what we can do with that and follow up with further tests. One other point was the mining Verium. Again, I know I've been sort of focusing on this. One of the primary reasons is a lot of the miner builds are designed for like 64-bit and x86 processors. So trying to find builds that go with like ARM processors is a little bit tricky. I spent probably about 2 or 3 hours yesterday trying to get Monero running on the Android box, and it just wasn't working. I was close, but it wasn't quite there. So I will be doing some more follow-up videos on this type of hardware and mining other coins, but at the moment it's just a little bit tricky kind of getting that stuff working, and obviously I want to make sure the process is nice and easy and simple for you to reproduce at your end. There's no point me doing it if it takes, you know, a week to get it done, and then sharing that with you is a real pain. Okay, so that's the end of this video. Thank you very much for watching. I certainly do hope you've liked it, enjoyed it, and found it somewhat educational. If you did like it, give it a like. If you like this type of content, then make sure you're a subscriber, use that subscribe, and also use the bell notification to make sure you get the latest updates, everything that's going on with me and this channel, mining, etc. So that's it for this one, guys. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you on the next one.